Last week, you may remember I referred to the New York Times as the New York Slimes. All because of their embarrassing attempt to blame inanimate objects like airplanes for taking aim at the World Trade Center. Now, there were some folks who were critical of me, what a shock, for calling them the Slimes. Frankly, I thought I was being a little too gentle. But in a story that had to be retracted, corrected, and openly regretted, the paper this week attempted to assassinate the character of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, the smear went something like this. Some unnamed people who didn't personally see or hear anything might have talked to some people who heard a story about Kavanaugh when he was in college. But no one actually remembers the story, and the one person named as a victim expressly said it did not happen. But be that as it may, the newspaper ran with the so-called story and based it on these unnamed sources and perhaps talked to other unidentified people who supposedly attended a party somewhere, but the date, location, and even the year of the party are unknown. But in the midst of all this uncertainty, the reporters were certain that the bad guy was one Brett Kavanaugh. Oh, and the only person who said he heard such a story was a close friend and lawyer to Bill and Hillary Clinton. But even he had said that he had no knowledge of it being real, just something he heard, but not sure from who. And on that, my friends, virtually every Democrat running for president immediately said Kavanaugh should be impeached. Now, make sure you understand this. Unnamed people without a single eyewitness or as much as one collaborating source decide after 30 years that they think something happened that should force the ouster of a Supreme Court justice, one who had already been through 7 FBI background checks and several congressional hearings for placement on district and federal appellate courts. This sloppy, inexcusable, laughable, and recklessly irresponsible reporting from the Slimes, it was so bad that even reliably left-leaning publications and broadcasters chided the Slimes for its unprofessional and dangerously biased story. I mean, even the most liberal member of the Supreme Court, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who is an icon for the left, said Kavanaugh and Justice Neil Gorsuch were smart and decent men. And she even said that the process of confirming justice has become too political and divisive. I think liberals ought to listen to their hero on this one. Now, here's why this matters. This is what masquerades as news these days. And it means that you best not trust what the media says about the issues or the people in the stories, because the people behind those stories, they're not looking or hoping to disseminate truth. They are in the business to steer public opinion and elections to their candidates of choice. This truly is an existential threat to our republic. The game is rigged, my friends, and you're going to have to maybe be your own reporter, your own editor, and your own source, and dig out the facts by asking the old basic questions that I got taught in journalism class, but apparently aren't used anymore as a measuring stick by the fake news outlets, which is increasingly pretty much all of them. I mean, the questions I learned in journalism were these: who, what, where, when, and how. And as even Jesus taught us in Matthew 18:16, take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. Who knew that the best journalism teacher ever would end up being Jesus? But he also said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. When we no longer operate on truth in this country, we no longer have freedom. And that, my friend, really, really matters. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.